Alright, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. We are in Vernal today. We're going to be taking a Caterpillar 627K scraper down to Salt Lake City. We do have Pizzster's 389 here as well as the Rogers Lowboy. And the reason why we're doing the Lowboy is because it received a small update. So just a couple quick notes on that. Just kind of looking at my notes here. You can find this, by the way, at Pizzster's Discord. This version 2.2.9. Some of the changes is for the tandem setup. We actually have a quad going on here on the Rogers Lowboy. But for the tandem, they're only going to accept 35-ton or less available loads, which is probably a lot more realistic than if you want the quad. The SP 50-ton, the SP 55-ton, which is what we have here, then you can get those heavier weights. So it's a little bit more realistic with how the weights are distributed among the different size trailers. There are actually more cargoes, and to be honest, I can't even keep up right now. I don't know exactly what new cargoes there are, if this was a one that I did in my last review, because that's kind of the problem when you have so many cargoes, is I can't really comment which ones are the new ones. It's hard to keep track sometimes, and so there are a total of 38 loads for all of the different variants of the Rogers Lowboy now. And then something else was done with the Manitovic crane logo. It was basically moved to a different folder, and now you basically have a template so that you can put your own logo or decal on it for your own virtual trucking company, which is kind of cool. Apart from that, fixed a bunch of shadows and fixed collisions and a little bit more optimization. And there is a reminder to make sure that when you get this new version, to delete the old one, and obviously going through the new system, you're not going to need the key anymore. So but you do have to sign up and make sure that you go through that new system so that everything is verified on the back end. So yeah, we're going to take a trip with the Rogers Lowboy today. This thing is massive. This scraper, it's coming in at 92,610 pounds. I upgraded the engine. I had a Cat C15 in here. It's still a Cat C15 by Serial Black, but I upgraded it from 475 horsepower to 650. If that's not going to do the job, there is still an 850 version, 850 horsepower version of that engine. So that's what we're going to be rocking. Before we do get going, I do want to show you these the skin from Goggles 56. And I featured Hell Creek on here before. This is actually Hell Creek machinery and equipment. I think it goes perfect with the load, and it goes perfect with the Lowboy. So that's what we're going to be rocking today. And as always, or most of the time, Goggles does allow you to custom, you know, even though he has like a set template for how he wants everything to look and stuff. So I made it black, and then the secondary color I threw in a dark red. It's kind of like a black cherry. And I did something similar to the theme here on the Lowboy, which is kind of cool. So just a little bit of variation going on there. But let's, before we go ahead and get on the drive, just one small detail I wanted to point out. It's the reason why this camera is pointed the way it is here. I've showed you all these buttons before, but there is one additional button, and it is kind of important because I haven't seen too many other people do it, and that is a rotary encoder. If you haven't been paying attention and seen my other videos, I am using an arcade USB encoder. I'm not using an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi. Most of the time, these little rotary encoders are reserved for Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and things like that, but not used on a USB encoder. And I figured out a way to do it, and it works perfectly. I've got it mapped for the windshield wipers, because now, if you're not aware, there is something that you can assign within the settings or within the keyboard buttons. One of them is wipers, and the other one is wipers back. So you actually have two settings, one that progresses from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 on the stages, and then back, which takes you from 3 to 2 to 1 to off. And that's the way I have it mapped. I originally went with one of these because it's a lot bigger, and it's a 4 position. So it could be off, first setting, second setting, third setting. and that's all you have. You have those 4 positions, and it works out perfectly for the different stages of the wipers. And it worked really good going from 0 all the way up to stage 3, or off to stage 3. The problem is, if you're familiar with how these rotary switches work, you have a common ground in the center, and then along the side you have 4 different pins, and that's perfect so that you can be able to go up through the stages. But to be able to reverse that, you need actually a second pole. You need a 2-pole thing. So what would be perfect, and maybe I'll look into it, it would be a 2-pole 4 position. So I'll still have the same 4 positions, but on the second pole I'll have another common ground and another 4 set here, and those will work specifically for what the game calls wipers back. So you could go 3, 2, 1, and off. And actually you don't even need anything hooked up to this first one here, because that's technically off. You don't want it to do anything anyway. So if you wanted to hook it up like that and you had a USB encoder, you would need 1, 2, 3 to go upward, and then you would need another 1, 2, 3 to go backwards. So it would end up taking up 6 positions. But look at the size of it, not just because it's closer to the camera. I'll put it here. It's a lot bigger, and you have the exact 4 positions. This thing is nice and it works, but there are 24 individual micro spots, and it's not as exact. So I think I'm going to look for a 2-pole 4 position, and in the meantime I'm just going to be able to use this. Funny enough, it is raining right now, so let me go ahead and get the truck
American
on.
People are counting on you to drive.
And I'll show you.
Let's go.
So there's 3rd position, 1 notch down to 2nd position, 1 notch down to 1st position, which is going to take a few seconds. Therefore it kicks in, and there we go. Boom. And down to 0, and we're off. So everything going down and up is controlled by this switch now. Alright, so the wipers are doing really good there. Again, I am going to be looking for probably another one of these, but in the meantime, that's what we have. So, like I said, 92,000 pounds with the scraper from Vernal down to Salt Lake City. Let's go ahead and get her started. We'll go to the 2nd stage of wipers. Go ahead and get our lights on. While we're pulling out of here, we'll get 4-ways and beacons. Might as well, because I got those all wired up. And let's go ahead and take off. We are running a 15 speed. Initial is 16.9, and we have 3.9 rears, so it is going to be set up to take a nice load. Not going to be a speed demon here, that is for sure. But that's okay. We were intentionally set up for a heavy haul today anyway. Look at the detail on that scraper. Love it. It's always nice running both Pizzster stuff all in the same video. Looks like we got to do a pretty tight turn here.
Turn right. Turn right.
We're going to get way over to the right here. Turn my track IR back on so I can see what I'm doing. Going to go out pretty wide here.
Turn right.
Can't really see a whole lot through that window. Let's wait for this guy. Nope. Go ahead, buddy. All right. Should be able to get out of here now. Yeah, they'll yield. We got 4 ways. We got beacons on. Make sure we get around the corner there.
Keep left. And then turn left. Turn left.
Alright. We'll get the 4 ways off. We'll get the beacons off. Looking clear. Fix my gauge there. It was pointing in a direction where I couldn't see what was going on. I don't really have to worry about it with Pizzster's trucks. They're pretty accurate, but some trucks that I drive, the speedometer and tachometer are so far off that I end up relying on my gauges quite a bit. And see, that's the other thing. I wanted to bring this up and ask you guys, if you guys have been on Facebook or various Discord channels, I'm sure you've seen that ATS Accessories is working on a project, and basically you just put up
Straight.
so basically what you do is you're working with a set of bezels, gauge bezels, and you put it over like a dashboard, but instead of actually having the gauges in there, it's all being run off of like some sim dash or sim panel app, because on the back of your dashboard you actually have some sort of tablet, and then you can have all your different gauges. And I believe he does one that works perfect for a Peterbilt style. The only downside with that, apart from the fact that you don't actually get to mess with the gauges and learn about how to put them together and stuff, if you just want a quick and easy solution, a downside that I don't know if people are thinking about, and it's a really cool idea that ATS Accessories has. I don't mean to quash it, but if you have any sort of truck that doesn't have an accurate speedometer or tachometer, you're importing that information from SimDash, and it's going to carry through and have that same problem for you on your tablet. So, because these gauges are calibrated using software that is outside of the game, I can get more accurate with what it's supposed to be, really. I'm pretty much spot on with Pizzster's truck. There's a couple other trucks out there that are wildly off. For example, when I'm supposed to be taking out of gear around 2,000 RPMs, it's registering like 2,800.
Continue straight.
And so I can't even look at the gauges of the truck. I have to use my own. And if I didn't have my own gauges, I would be stuck with the same sort of information that's being ported through from the truck onto a tablet, and you're not going to have very accurate results. So with real gauges, calibrated ones, I'm actually going to be able to override that and see what they really should be. Just something to think about. I think it's a great solution for people that don't want to go down the rabbit hole of figuring out the gauges and how to hook it up to all these boards and stuff, because it is hard. I definitely see the appeal for that sort of approach using a tablet. But for those who want to take the time to customize it a little bit and maybe haven't really thought about the fact that you're going to have that carryover problem, something that you should know. Because I was thinking about doing it for a while, going down the rabbit hole, learning all these different things and all your different options, and how one ends up affecting the other, and 12 other ones, 12 other ideas. Man, it's so much easier to just put a tablet back there. It really is. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, it's a good thing that I Oh, let's get the wipers off. It's a good thing I thought about that, because I would have been all the way down invested into that project and I wouldn't have had the solution that I wanted. Let's hear the Jake. It's going to be loud.
Keep right.
Just kind of stayed on that Jake because lately, I don't know if it's just timing, if it's just a coincidence, but so many times I've been rolling up to lights and it's like they're trying to get me to get a ticket, where as soon as I go to upshift, especially if it's from a low range to a high range, then it's like, nope, yellow, and you're either going to get the ticket or you're not. I try to drive realistic a lot of times, but sometimes it's just kind of a pain. I feel like it's this big conspiracy, right? They're trying to pin you all the time, and I know that's not really the truth. Doesn't mean that it isn't annoying, though. So I'm a little bit more cautious, and I know they're gonna throw that yellow light up on me. Alright, that was a weird cut there, but I had to stop because apparently I had low disk space. I'm going to have to go through and move some of my recordings off to an external. But it stopped me directly in the middle of the drive, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to use that first part. So we are running a 92,000 pound scraper right now. And yeah, we're set up for heavy haul. Got the flags flapping in the wind in the background. And I hope I'm able to recover what I just did. That would really suck if I was probably already 30 minutes into the video. And now we are up to full speed. Making sure he knows I'm there and stays in his lane. Well, we got speed limit of 65 and we are at 60. Nice. Cruise our way back over here to the right. But we are running from Vernal to Salt Lake City with this scraper. Tracking okay there on the right, maybe a little bit close to that line. See if we can start moseying our way over. Love the mirror setup in this truck. Just really easy to see. Ooh, 50 miles an hour. We'll get on the Jake now. As we're going downhill a little bit. Really should be in a little bit lower gear for that. Then we don't have to ride the Jake so much. Us in. Nope, we get the bypass. I like it. I'll get back to you. I'll do some exterior stuff here, and then I'll get back to you closer to the delivery.
Continue straight.
I wonder how jerky this video is going to end up being. I'm supposed to be running at 60 frames per second, and I can tell right now that nothing is happening beyond 30. It may have to do with the low disk space that caused my recording to just booted me out of the game and stopped the recording on OBS. So I could have lost everything, and I have a feeling that what I'm seeing right now is not going to be usable. It is absolute trash frames per second right now. Oh, you know what? And I think they warned us too. With the Rogers Lowboy, there's two different versions of it, and one version has freight in it, so you'll be able to see other Rogers Lowboys, I believe is what it means. And there's a version for to have no freight, so you don't see those kind of things, and it's supposed to be a lot more frame friendly. And I have a feeling that that's what I'm going to need to do. It didn't bother me at the beginning of the drive, but that's obviously a very hefty mod in terms of its size to just warrant shutting down the entire recording. Just stop midway. Let's go ahead and get our four ways on. Get our windows down. Beacons on as we're coming in. Let's see where they want us to pull up here. Just head up to the flag, I guess. You can cheat here. Oh, it's all the way up there. Yeah, no problem. No problem with that. We're back up to like 60 frames now. Maybe it was just a heavy area that we were going through. I might have to switch to the no freight method, though. You'll see it when you go to Pizzster's site. But much more frame friendly if you do the no freight. So I'm going to have to do a comparison, especially coming through
It's been my honor and duty to see you through this mission.
the Salt Lake City area. Maybe it was just a little bit too intense in combination with the size of the mod. I don't know. Yeah, that was horrible. But let's see if we can even salvage this video. If you can still hear me, if this is still usable. Welcome to Salt Lake City. Let's go ahead and turn everything off. I'm just going to do a quick one. Four ways off, beacons off, all lights off, truck off, and we'll go ahead and just call it good right there. Hopefully you guys could see this video, and I'm able to get the first part that was cut off. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you can see all of my videos. Let me know if you have any questions about the Rotary encoder that we looked at today. And otherwise, I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.